Good morning. If you'd like to stand, we'll sing our call to worship. Hi, Bob. Hi, everybody. One, two, three, four. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God. I am 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 alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God. Go, Brad. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God. I am 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 alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God.
Well, good morning, y'all. And I hope you're alive with the Spirit. My name is Libby Robold, and with my husband Michael, we'll be assisting in the service today as your worship assistant. And let's begin our morning with prayer. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes and go inside. And in the sacred space of the quiet, may we welcome in this beautiful day, a day of celebration, a celebration of all the mothers in our lives and the mothering spirit within. And may we take this time to celebrate that divine feminine everywhere present in the universe and within ourselves, and to come together to share, to reignite the spirit of nurturing and loving compassion in every word we speak, everywhere we go, at every place we light. And may we take that into our heart and in our mind and feel the power of Amen. And so it is. So let's take this time now to take a look at our statement of unity, which should be on the boards, and say it together. So together, within the silence of prayer, I gain a clear sense of direction. And so it is. So let's take a moment here to turn around and greet your neighbors, say hello. A beautiful Mother's Day. We invite you now to make your way back to your seat and prepare for the grace chant.
I see Steve's back there. Did you see Steve?
Okay, the grace chant is a song that's sung in the round. We'll sing it once together, all of us, and then we'll sing it around twice. Y'all on that side, hi Amy. Y'all over there, we'll sing with these guys, and you guys on this side are stuck with me. Sing loud, Marty. Okay, so once together, twice in a round. Oh, and you can stand, might as well. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. Thy will is my will. Heal me at depth so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed so that I may glorify God. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. Thy will is my will. Heal me at depth so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be my spirit. Heal that which needs to be healed so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed so that I may glorify God. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed so that I may glorify God. May glorify God.
Well, good morning again. There's some tan people out there. Welcome back. Welcome to anyone who's new here for the first time. We have some announcements. The upcoming and including today's service, we're glad to have Kit Holmes back here today. We appreciate you always coming here with a wonderful message. And next Sunday we have Greg Coles coming from Unity. And speaking of that, we have a appreciative interview form for each of you to fill out. You can't get out of the building until you fill. The reason I say that is they're due today. So if you didn't fill out one last week, it's really important that Greg has some information about where we anticipate the direction of this body of people at Unity of TC. So it only takes 10 minutes at the most. I already filled mine out, and I didn't clock it, but I'm sure it was under 10 minutes. So in addition to Greg being here for the Sunday talk, he'll also be conducting a workshop, which again is all about where are we headed, what are we looking for in this new minister, and what do you want to see. So it's important that as many of us as possible make our statements known so that Greg can conduct this workshop with that in mind. The workshop is going to take place on Saturday from 9 in the morning till 4. And again, hopefully you can all fill out the form, even if you aren't able to attend the workshop. Very important. Joanne Davis, we're doing a memorial for her on June 11th. That's at 12:15, and we're just giving a heads up on that. Molly DeBell has an announcement from the board as a board member. Would you like to use this microphone?
Okay, I guess I better. Okay, well, you'll all remember last month we did Volunteer Appreciation Day. Well, today we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to do Volunteer Appreciation Day 2.0. So if we could have Meg and Bob come up here, I have a couple of things to present to them. So, so you'll recall that they were our Volunteers of the Year. And so today, we want to give them the certificates that we didn't have ready last month. And, and so the certificates, excuse me, the certificates say, in grateful recognition of your loving and dedicated service, Unity of Traverse City hereby presents Meg Gray and Bob White with this certificate of appreciation. On behalf of the Board of Directors and all of us here at Unity, we just want to say thank you again. So for Bob and for Meg, and we also want to present each of them with a gift card for downtown Traverse City. I don't know if that's how you say it. Unity of Traverse City downtown. You guys know what it is. I don't, But anyway, so we want to, let you just say again how much we appreciate all that you've done for us and share this little token of appreciation with you today. So thank you guys very, very much. Okay.
You can remain seated for this one. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden so play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's great creation of the new day.
Before we begin our meditation this morning, I want to share with you a very short little story of how our motherly love, our nurturing, divine motherly love within each of us travels far and wide. Last week I was talking with a former colleague where I used to work as an art therapist, yoga therapist, and she was a special ed teacher there. And we had children that were emotionally impaired, and we both have had contact from some of these kids just in the last few weeks. Notes and calls and emails. We were talking about how sweet that was. And then she told me the story about a young man that she ran into in Traverse City, and I remember him well. He had red hair, and the first day I went to teach there, he leaned back in the chair and he said, "This better be good or I ain't learning nothing." I said, "I hear ya." So anyway, she ran into this young man, now older young man, and he said to her, "Mrs. H, do you remember me?" She said, "Of course I remember you." Thinking, how could I forever forget you? Great kid. He said, "Well, I just got out of jail." And I'm going to be doing things better now. And I'm so glad I ran into you. And I wanted to know if I could give you a hug. And she said, of course you can. She gave him a big hug, and he pushed her away, and he said, it was your big hugs every day that got me through my life. Whoa, right? Yeah. That's the power of mother energy, divine energy. So let's take that kind of loving kindness that we know that each of us try to exude every day in our life and take that in with us as we travel now into our time of quiet meditation. And as I quiet myself into this moment, I allow myself to be held in the arms of Spirit. And I open to the mothering nature of God. And into the encircling arms of Mother God, I bring to consciousness this morning all those who need nurturing, all those who long for security, and those that are hungering for unconditional love. Bring to mind in this moment anyone that you know that needs the loving arms of Mother God. For the nurturing love of God that dwells deep within me, I need only to tap into my own inner power, my inner knowing, to be comforted by a love that is so rich and so deep and so full, like the love of a mother for her infant held close to her heart, like the love of a mother for her child as she takes by the hand, or the love and the joyful pain a mother feels when her child grows up and takes wing. Such is the love of the nurturing nature of God for all humanity. For the God Spirit loves me unconditionally. The Mother God Spirit keeps me safe. The God Spirit holds my hand, and if I listen, shows me the way. And when it is time to soar, Mother God will let me fly away to make my earthly travels, and yet the Mothering Spirit will be with me to comfort me and to love me wherever I go, wherever I travel on my way. Well, thank you, Mother God, that you are with me, supporting me and loving me this day and every day. That you are in my heart and that you can be seen all around in the flowers and the grasses, in the trees, in the breath that I breathe, in the sun that shines on me and all creation. You are the earth and all the good inside of me. You are everywhere present, loving me, caring for me, nurturing me, singing to me. What a gifted child am I, ever caressed by my mother's spirit, the divine energy inside. May I feel that blessing. And in this morning, be so blessed. Amen.
Our children will do what we do, not as we say. We gotta give them a good foundation and let them build on it in their own way. We gotta reach out and listen and love. Let them know they're gonna make it, even though it might get tough. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, it goes on. See the best in them as they're questioning. It goes on and on and on. Ooh, yeah. Our parents might judge what we do as we make our own way. We gotta give them all forgiveness. They're doing the best they can every day. Gotta reach out and listen and love. They got so much to teach us. Let that be enough. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, it goes on. See the best in them as they're questioning. It goes on and on and on. The silver thread, the book of life. Choose whatever metaphor you like. This crazy old planet keeps spinning round the sun. It goes on. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, it goes on. See the best in them as they're questioning. It goes on and on and on. On and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on.
I want to know where the little switch is to make this thing go down. Oh, there is it on the floor? Does anybody know? I'm stepping on it. Uh-oh, it's not. Okay, it's not working, but that's okay. I feel a little short behind it, but
Here we go. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. When I scheduled this talk with Libby, hang on. Woo! Okay, now I need it. Now that's okay. When I scheduled this talk with Libby to do today, I knew it was going to be Mother's Day. Sometimes when writing a lesson or a talk for a holiday has its benefits, like not having to go very far to find a topic to talk about. But writing for a holiday, especially one like Mother's Day, can have its emotional challenges as well. I was more than a little surprised when I sat down to prepare this talk as a flood of different feelings came up about it. I've done Mother's Day talks in the past, but this one came with the realization of just how much I have changed and grown and grieved since my own mother's passing in September of 2017. As God would have it, I was guided to reprise a Mother's Day talk I did in 2019, the last Mother's Day holiday before the global pandemic changed everything. The version you're hearing this morning has numerous updates and modifications to reflect where I am in my life now and how my perspective of my relationship with my mother and those at various times and or those who took that role at various times has changed. As many of you know, the death of our mothers brings with it a very unique and primal and ancient and ancestral grief, regardless of the kind of relationship we might have had with her. Grief work is something I know a lot more about now than I did 4 years ago when I wrote the original version of this talk. I was in ministerial school at a weekend intensive, and I use that word purposefully. It was an intensive in pastoral care. We spent a lot of time working on grief. Regardless of how awesome or not our relationships with our mothers might have been, mom stuff was the primary impetus for grief for most of us. It was here I first heard the phrase, "If it's not one thing, it's your mother." You can relate. So I'm standing behind the lectern today with my notes because I want to make sure that the things that I really want to say get said in the way that I want to say them and I don't get off track and go all over the map and how I do sometimes, and wave my hand. So there's my hand waving for the day. The first iteration of this talk was a love letter to every woman who has ever raised a child. But then it evolved into a love letter to every woman who ever had a hand in raising me. I chose that song On and On to express my gratitude for having arrived at a deeper, more compassionate, and peaceful understanding of the cyclic nature of our relationships with our mothers. These days, we know that the definition of what a mother is as vast as the number of women who hold the title. We have moved way beyond anything that could be called traditional. I don't have biological children of my own, and the only ones I have ever adopted have been of the four-legged variety, non-human. But to me, the word mother applies to any woman or person who, no matter what her past upbringing, has expressed compassion, strength, wisdom, ingenuity, creativity, resourcefulness, generosity, courage, tenacity, joy, and equanimity to any child, whether they are her biological children or not. These qualities of the divine feminine are backed by an inherently infinite capacity to love and nurture. Today, I want to begin by honoring all those who are or have been or are becoming a mother to an aging parent. Blessings to you as you do your best to balance the anticipatory grief of knowing what's coming with the day-to-day heavy lifting of parenting your own parent or parents. I honor the women who had to become a mother to themselves and sometimes their siblings when one or both parents were tangled in the throes of addiction, abuse, incarceration, or left through divorce or early death. special blessings of hope to you, that you know the grief of abandonment can be soothed and healed. And thank you, Libby, for that story of that young man with the red hair. I honor and bless all the mothers who have outlived their children, no matter what the cause. I hold you in the light of God's comfort and grace. Thank you to all the mothers who wholeheartedly and unconditionally accepted your sons and daughters when they came out as gay or lesbian, or journeyed through years of deep questioning, self-awareness, and acceptance to live as transgendered. I hold you all dearly in the light of love. I thank all the mothers, grandmothers, aunts, sisters, and any woman who teaches girls and young women that true beauty comes from knowing self-worth and not the perfect shade of lipstick or the right brand of shampoo. And for teaching boys and young men that there is no shame in crying, and that real power and strength lies not in the physical realm, but in emotional honesty and spiritual maturity. To all the women who have honored the fact that fashion trends will come and go and be recirculated, thank you for teaching young students that it is okay for them to fly their freak flag in their senior pictures. Patiently knowing that the haircut that they currently cannot live without will come back to haunt them in middle age when they have children of their own. And I, for one, thought I was pretty hot stuff with my perm in my senior portrait. To all the women who have taught both young girls and boys what healthy boundaries look like, and for demonstrating strong values like honesty, integrity, respect, compassion, and selfless service. Thank you for encouraging them to learn from their mistakes and not quit at the first sign of things not going their way. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for demonstrating that it is in listening to others and to Spirit that we learn to find our own voices, and that it, as it has wisely been said, is better to keep silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it. Here then is my love letter to just a few of the women who left an indelible imprint on me as I was growing up. Dear Miss Thelma, thank you for demonstrating that no work done well is less honorable or less valuable than any other. There was a powerfully quiet strength and dignity about you. I loved saying things that made you laugh, because when you smiled, I could see your gold tooth, the one right in front with the cutout of a star in it. You had children of your own that I would never meet. I wonder now who was taking care of them while you were there in my house, ironing my father's shirts and watching over me as I did my elementary school homework when my mother went back to school and went to PTA meetings. I wonder now what you were thinking and feeling, not being with your kids after school, working for my middle-class white family, while the race riots of the late 1960s escalated less than 100 miles away from us in Detroit. Dear Mrs. Loberg, thank you for being that neighborhood mom and having that one home where all the kids, plus 5 of your own, loved to play. How many summer afternoons did we spend in your backyard playing pickup baseball games or tag or some other activity? There always seemed to be a pitcher of icy cold Kool-Aid ready for us. Everyone, young and old, always seemed welcome. The days when you made homemade cinnamon bread were heavenly. Maybe it was because you were a full-time nurse, or maybe you were a nurse because of an inherent desire to be of service. In either case, you were the best. Dear Sister Jackie of St. Robert's Parish, thank you for your authentic and infectiously beaming smile, and for showing me that nuns could actually be really fun and cool. Your love of baseball was contagious, And when I found out you were in a softball league with a whole bunch of other nuns, wow. Throughout that one term of catechism classes that seemed to go on for decades, I think it was supposed to count as sex ed, and I think the only formal instruction that I ever received on the subject. You were kind, patient, and non-judgmental. When I courageously and earnestly and innocently asked at the age of 12 in front of the whole class, how do I get a boyfriend? I just don't feel anything for boys. You smiled kindly. And while the other girls laughed cruelly at me, you answered with probably way more understanding than anyone I'd met to that point. And you said to me, be patient. You'll find someone to fall in love with soon enough. In hindsight, I recall you didn't say it would be with a boy. Dear Miss Ann, thank you for holding my hand through the memorial service for my friend and classmate Scott when I was 16. I didn't understand then why my mom wasn't sitting next to me as I went through my first real experience of tragic and personal loss. I came to understand many years later that in her own grief and fear of being a mother who could lose a child to a car wreck, that was the only way she knew how to protect her heart at the time. I thank you deeply for being what I needed that day. Dear Mrs. DeVore, thank you for the high school graduation gift of Khalil Gibran's The Prophet and Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. Thank you for recognizing me as the spiritual seeker I was long before I was ever aware I could follow a different path to God than the faith tradition of my family. Dear many mighty, intuitive, wise, insightful, tenacious, loving, and compassionate women mentors I have had over the years, I am eternally grateful that whenever I felt lost in the dark, you held a light for me in one hand and a mirror in the other. To reflect that light within me was the one I most needed to trust to show me the way out. Dear Mom, it's been 5 years, 8 months, 9 days, 8 hours, and about 20 minutes since you released your earthly body from its human adventure. I have to say again how grateful I am for that day 6 years before you died, when you found your way to showing me your real heart, the real truth of you, by speaking the words of a wounded child, a fearful, lifelong perfectionist, and at the age of 76, a still uncertain mother. I am grateful that you spoke the words of love and respect you had for me, authentically, honestly, and as unguarded as I had ever seen you. Still very much in control, but unguarded nonetheless. I was so very much at peace with where we had gotten to in our relationship, how we'd come to love and understand each other in those last 6 years. And I'm grateful that in the end, through the haze of your dementia, that part of your brain, the part most connected to your heart, repeatedly told me how proud of me you were and how much you loved me. I never got tired of hearing that. Again and again and again, even when you said you forgot if you had told me. In all the things that you taught me, Mom, whether by default or design, I know you were doing the best you could with what you had, with the level of awareness you had at the time, through the eyes of a mother's love. You have become even more present in my life these days. I hear and see signs of you more frequently, like in the surprising ways that I find myself using certain expressions like yours, like, oh dear, holy cow, and hot damn. Hot damn. I felt your unmistakable presence during some of the most difficult times of my divorce and through my cancer journey. There are still times when I look down when I'm playing the piano and see that your hands have somehow replaced mine at the end of my wrists. It's disconcerting and at the same time comforting. If you are somehow having a vicarious rock star experience through me, so be it. I know it's only because how much you love music and how much you love me. Thank you, Mom. I love you forever. As I said earlier, the definition of motherhood is as vast as the number of women who fill the role. And our relationships with our mothers run the perfectly imperfect and dynamically human gamut of expression. What I know and affirm is that this thing we teach in New Thought, at the heart of everything is love. The capacity to love unconditionally is the most powerful aspect of the divine feminine in each of us. So today, may we continue to honor those we call or have called mother for the many ways they guided us, directly or otherwise, to the spiritual path that we find ourselves on today. Let us extend our compassion, gratitude, and light to them through the eyes of unconditional love. A very blessed Mother's Day to all of you. Namaste and thank you.
Thanks, Kit. What a wonderful Mother's Day message to those of us who are neither mothers nor women. And certainly, it's all about love. And so as we take this time now to express our love and appreciation for all that we have, all those people who've made a difference in our life, we hold in our hands, if you have it, something to pass on to the good work that is being done right here throughout our community of Unity of Traverse City. And let's affirm, as the screen shows, our blessing of our ties. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you. So it is.
When I reach out to my brother with the arms of love, love that knows no bounds, there is strength, there is courage, enough to go around. And when I listen to my sister with the ears of love, love so deep and so right, there is patience and forgiveness, compassion and light. Through the eyes of love, everything's clear, living in the living right here. I want to build a world with the hands of love, with my neighbors across the land, with love the foundation. We got a real good place to stand. Through the see this world through the eyes of love, a love so deep in our hearts, everything's beautiful. Through the eyes of love, everything's clear. Living in the moment, living right here. Through the eyes of love, there is only one heart and one mind, in an army of harmony, dancing to the rhythm of life. La 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 la, to the rhythm of life. La 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 la. Join me on some la-las, shall we? La 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 la, to the rhythm of life. La 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 la, to the rhythm of life. La 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 la, to the rhythm of life. All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kid Holmes and the band. I'd like to invite you to stand now and circle up for our closing. And as we're gathering around, I'd like to acknowledge all the moms in the room, all those moms that have given that physical birth to children. Bless your hearts. It's been a journey, right? Also like to welcome back Steve Orr. Yay. Welcome back. We'll keep those healing prayers coming. Like to acknowledge all the people that are at the other end of the building, preparing things so that we might have some social time afterwards if you'd like to stay for a little bit. Like to thank everyone. AJ up there in the window, our tech guy. What a great guy. A great musician of his own, on his own accord. Also like to thank appreciate anyone who's here today for the first time, and if you didn't get a packet, there are packets that you can take on your way out that tell a little bit more about unity. We also have chaplains that are always available after the service, usually one here and one in the hallway for if you'd like some personal prayer time, a little bit of support, a little mothering love today. And then I'd like to take this opportunity, if you would, to remind you to fill out this this form for Greg Coles from Unity Worldwide Ministries, who will be here next weekend. And that'll be a very exciting weekend with Greg. If you were here before, he's a great speaker, and he'll be doing the service on Sunday. I'd like to say that if you have anyone in your life right now that you know that needs some mothering love today, some nurturing, some healing vibration, if you would bring them to your heart right now, and if you want to speak their name in a little whisper in the circle to affirm it, please do. Take a moment, either in your heart, in your mind, or with your voice. Speak the name of someone that you know that needs that love, support, guidance, or healing. And we know that all these people and the peoples around the world, as we come together, we cultivate universal compassion, and we can send our loving care through mind and heart, and it has its power. And in that knowing, we bless them. And might we say together now, our prayer protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. The peace song.